Oh shoot, where's my mic? There it is. Hey folks, welcome back, Password fans. I may be doing this from a slightly different location, so if anything sounds a bit different, a little more echo, pun intended, any, I don't know, reverb or whatever else, different room and all that, so that. I also took my more portable mic. At home I have a mic stand for my other microphone, and I can't really use it without the mic stand, so I brought my more portable mic, and it's a dynamic compared to a what is it, they think they call it a compressor mic. Yeah, that's what my other one is. So yeah, if anybody's wondering, that's why. Just explain for anybody who doesn't follow my Tennis Ace series, because I've been here the past day or so. Oh, I've only done one stream here. Yeah, so last episode I was here with the dynamic mic. But yeah, before that, just at home, so yeah. Doing some good old house sitting and multitasking, streaming and house sitting. Alright, so I'm just about to get ready, so here we go. Let's get going. We are gonna start in a bit. Got you there. I'm also gonna be kind of picking up the mic, putting it down, since I don't have a mic stand, so if you hear me thump it a little bit, I'll try not to, but apologies in advance. Alright, sorry about that. I just had to grab some water. There will be many a sip taken for our references to other VNs, and yeah, just staying hydrated. So, okay, everything's just about on track and ready to go. Here we go, let's get things started then, shall we? Alright, welcome back, folks. Welcome to episode 32, I guess we were going to call it, of Password. Yep, this is day 21 of Dean and Tyson's Path A. Yep. I was having a bit of a struggle there, not realizing I changed the keys, because almost every VN I've played so far has different random functions where I press an F key and it's like, nope, this also does something random, like pop up a number thing or pop up the help menu. I don't know. Things are just weird. Yeah, so. And as always, let me know if I'm a bit too loud, too quiet, too echoey, whatever. I'll take a sip to that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This update just came out in May. They all come out on the 15th, if I can recall correctly. And because of that, I had played Day 20 on May 13th, so yeah, you may have realized that that may have not been the best time for me to stream it, because then 2 days later, Day 21 comes out, and I'm like, ah, crap, I need to catch up on that. But hey, we're doing that, and June 15th also is going to be a Path A-B update. So, Dean and Tyson, I think all paths are getting updated on day 22. Or not all paths, all routes. Yeah, it's confusing. Day 20 and I think 21 too supposedly are going to be very similar. Yeah, more likely than you think. Thank you, Billy Bob Joe. Truly. That's why I'm doing both in one stream, because otherwise I would just play through the same stuff for like probably 3/4 the entire time and just like have to not like fast forward, but I do that with this when I combine them into one episode and just be like, hey, this part's unique, this part's unique. I need to still try and do that probably with the other password episodes. I'll probably go back maybe tonight and just kind of browse. Yeah, but I only have played Dean and Tyson's routes so far, so I'm not going to be like going through Sal's Day 21 and Roswell's, and I unfortunately have not played them yet, but I don't know, maybe if I get the time to, maybe on my own free time. It's just hard for me to like do them reading them like this. Like, I don't know if people would ever watch me if I was just like not reading them. I wouldn't do it like on YouTube or like, I don't know, or any like monetary whatever type of thing with it, just because it'd be like, you know, it's just me sitting there and just looking at it and hitting enter. But yeah, I don't know, maybe if people are really like, you gotta play password all the routes to get the ultimate ending or something like that, maybe I'll try and catch up through that, maybe. I don't know. And yes, I forgot. If anybody noticed my background, I have changed it. I went to the mall today and was like, hey, I need a new background. My old one is old. I don't have the assets for it anymore. And it has something in where I am now, so I needed to change that. But yeah, I'm glad to see y'all here, and yeah, we should get started soon. We should. I don't know if we will. Well, and Shining Chaos, you're always too kind saying that. And now they've gone evil. Shining Chaos is doing something evil. Alright, we'll start at the nearest minute. Yeah, I'm still gonna have to figure out how to title those for like day 20, 21, the common days where it's like, oh, I'm doing each one, but they have unique parts. I've been really bad going back and doing that, so like I said, I'll probably have to like go back and like replay the stream after I watch it and just be like, hey, let's try that again, and yeah, re-timestamp it. And as usual, I run a bit over, so 9:30, why not? It's actually not 9:30 here. It's a little earlier than that for me because West Coast time. But nonetheless, let's get going then, shall we? Sorry for the little glitch there. Here we go. We are going to start with good old Dean. I like to do it in alphabetical order because it's kind of fun. Here we go. And then I was asleep, cradled in the warmth of my boyfriend. Uh-oh. the time changed. That tick always just makes me feel like something bad's gonna happen. Oh well. There had only been a few times where I felt like I'd been falling in my dreams. I was conscious of it happening, but instead of waking up, I just seemed to slow down until I was on my feet. This time, anyway. It was a similar feeling to sinking, maybe, but I still found myself in an endless darkness rather than any other place I could recognize. A dull throb in the back of my head made me wonder what was happening, but I didn't have to wait long. Dave? There was the all too familiar voice, and I knew that I must have been dreaming. Still, the thought for once brought a smile to my face, knowing that the danger had just passed and I had a chance to breathe. 5 more minutes, Dream Dad. There was that chuckle, and I could picture him shaking his head. Dream Dad, huh? I'm flattered, but you can't spend all day in bed. But sleep. I felt the covers being thrown back, and instinctively I curled up tighter with the sudden onset of feeling less toasty. Dream Dad. Opening my eyes slowly, I looked around my room. Sure enough, there Dad was. Come on, time to get up. As I went to sit up, I was hit with a headache and nausea. What's wrong, sport? Feeling under the weather? Nope. Maybe I did go a little crazy last night. There was a moment where I wasn't sure what I just said. Maybe I just said something back to try and get a rise out of Dad, even if he was just a dream. I let you sleep in a little longer than Tyson because you're my favorite son. But you need some grub in you. Dad, I'm your only son. I could tell something was wrong as I started speaking before I'd consciously thought back my response. I tried to follow it up with something, but instead felt myself stretch out my fingers and sit up to watch Dad linger by the bedroom door. Do you think things are going to be all right? Hard to say, champ. Just don't go thinking about it too hard. Alright? Apparently, it was time to get up and get dressed. I felt like a passenger in my own body as I moved about the room, trying to figure out why this lucid dream seemed to be playing out on its own. Even trying to speak to myself or think out aloud wasn't working. But I could see just fine, though what I was looking at was restricted to this dream Dave I found myself in. I could smell breakfast when I hit the bottom of the stairs, and my eyes lingered briefly on the sofa, where a couple of pillows and a blanket still were messily laid out on it. Tyson? Did you sleep on the sofa? Yeah. Why? Why? Why what? Why'd you sleep on the sofa? I wandered into the kitchen to see Ty sitting at the table in the middle of eating breakfast. Dad was sitting himself down and wandered over to the coffee pot. Where else would I sleep? My bed? When you don't go passing out from drinking too much, maybe that would be an option. Damn, aren't these kids like 18 or whatever? They're drinking at 18? Damn, I wasn't drinking till 19. I groaned, rubbing my head. Was this what a hangover was like? I'd wondered why my mouth was dry, but still. Dad and Ty seemed to be laughing things off, although I could see the telltale cracks in their expressions that hinted that they were worried. Was it that bad? You don't remember how we had to rush you to the hospital? Didn't want to risk anything, so we took you to get your stomach pumped, Dave. What? It was really that bad? Did Mom say anything? They looked at one another before looking back to me. Mom is going to kick our ass. Your mom said that he was overreacting. But I passed out. Well, we weren't sure if you'd taken some aspirin or something, and you know the whole mixing alcohol and medicine thing. That you shouldn't do it. Obviously, Tyson. But I'm fine. I'll be honest, I don't really remember much of last night. But I do feel kinda gross. Get some food in you. Get some water. If you're still feeling under the weather later, we can look into something else to pick you up. You at least remember why you were drinking, right? No? Tyson motioned to me and I looked back at him funny. He rolled his eyes and pointed to my hand, to which a ring sat comfortably on a finger on my right hand. Oh no, we are in a different universe. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh, right. Oh, of course. Remember now, sport. Yeah, I'm getting married. Eventually. It was just a fucking engagement party. Language at the table, Tyson. Oh, shit. Sorry. Dad shook his head, flashing me a smile. If anything, we should be sorry to Dave for letting him get carried away. Last thing we want is a vengeful fiancé knocking on our door. Speaking of, I'll probably see him later, so, what do I tell him? The truth? Ugh. He's gonna be distracted all afternoon if I do, though. Unless Dave tells him now. There's no way around it. Which would you rather? Can we back up a minute? I mean, I get the celebrating, but shouldn't Sal have been here if we were celebrating that? He entrusted you to us. Or mostly Tyson, anyway. Had to go help out his best friend with something. Yeah, Dean got himself stuck again. Plus, apparently, you two already celebrated a few nights back. God, no idea how the fuck you managed to keep that a secret from us for a couple of days. Tyson. Sorry. Tyson stood up, pushed in his chair, and cleared his throat. You really went fucking overboard, didn't you? I guess you're not at the table now. Ty ruffled the fur atop my head and I grumbled, still feeling sick. But I wasn't feeling sick as I probably should have been. I just knew that I was. Hey, Dad? Yes, Dave? Then they were gone and I was falling again. Oh no, we're doing the thing again. I must have been sleeping. Dad was gone, but more importantly, I was still at the mansion, wasn't I? As I opened my eyes, my head hurt something fierce. But like the last time, I didn't seem to be in control of my own body. Ow, God! Ow, what happened? I'll take credit for that. Okay, You made me pass out again? Why? I sounded angry, although from what I could see around me in the brief time that Dave I was living in nothing seemed wrong. For fun. What kind of person even does that? Well, I'm hardly a person, am I? On a more serious note, 2 questions for you. Okay, what now? First, have you decided what you're going to do about Jack? Not really. There isn't many options for us, is there? True, but it's worth asking. What about the second thing? It's about what you saw in the little dream I gave you. You mean memory? Semantics. There isn't much to say. Just more of the same sort of stuff, really. Thanatos didn't seem all that thrilled about it and shook his head. Details, Dave. Okay, well, it's odd, right? It's basically what happened yesterday, except... There was no reply, and as much as I wanted to step in and ask questions myself, I wasn't the one in control. Is that why you asked Oswin that favor? To stop Benson from firing his gun? Maybe. But that's interesting. Interesting how? Not many variations between where we are now and what you saw. For example, I watched as Thanatos look me directly in the eye. He is about to do it. Don't you dare! Something in how he did made my skin crawl, as if he could sense that I was there watching through this other Dave's eyes. Imagine that there was this dream. Imagine all the people. Imagine that you're watching these events as a memory instead. That's... okay. So what? Imagine what you could do with that information if you could look back on the previous loop and change how things go. Nothing that bad happened, though. And if it did, if you'd seen the trap I set for Tyson before you needed to use the vault, as in, use the vault without a password? In a matter of speaking, sure, I had to knock you out this time, but... He shrugged again. How about test? Oh god, we're gonna have to do time jumping or whatever it is. I just saw everything everywhere all at once, and now I cannot stop thinking about this. It's like the same thing. I'm like, shit, we are about to jump dimensions again. This ain't gonna be fun. Oh man, really good movie though. Loved it. No spoilers though. I'll try not to spoil it. What sort of test? I ask you a question. You give me the answer. And if I get it right, then we'll know you've been through all this before and I'll treat you to something nice. Have an ice cream cone. If he winked, I would have known he was talking to me. If he'd given me any indication he knew I was there, I'd missed it though. Maybe this was just how he was, but I felt the me I was piloting nod slowly. Okay. What's the question? The question is, where's the Leo medal? God damn it. We're gonna drink to that. One sip of water. We're only drinking water tonight. Hydrate, folks. It says Chula on it. The what? We hadn't found the Leo medal yet. It seemed as though the other Dave had no clue where it was either. No. Don't know. Fuck, I forgot where the Leo medal was. Was that the one by the lake? I know Leo's in Zodiac. I'm making a joke. I know Leo's a lion. I will never think of Leo as anything else as any other species whatsoever. But man, I forgot where that one was. I know there was one by the lake. There was one by, well, obviously in the maze, duh, but there was like half of one where I think Tyson had found it earlier, and then Tyson in the other path found it through, like he dug it up somewhere, the other half. Pisces was the one on the lake. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, God, I forgot where the Leo one was. Dave, help! Don't know. But we haven't found that one yet. How else would I know? Oh, yeah, Aquarius was at the hedge maze. Thanks. What was the one that was split in half? Gemini. Okay, got it. I forgot if we found like a fourth one somewhere, but... Taurus under the pumpkin. Wow, y'all are really good. It's all Billy Bob Joe. Thanks, Billy Bob Joe. Really good. How else would I know? Because I'm about to tell you in order to give you a freebie. I don't know if I trust a freebie with you. Take it or leave it. If you get it right, then you'll get your treat. If not, at least you'll know where the medal is. Alright, where is it? Listen close, Dave. Leo is hidden. And we're about to time jump, aren't we? No! Oh, never mind. I'm kidding. We do get to know. In the place Oswin does his best work. Can you make it more obvious? His voice was fading fast. Okay, there have been others shown in other routes. I don't remember what the other ones were that were unique to each route. I forgot. Well, Tyson's was the one buried half and half. That's the one I know of, but I forgot what Dean's was. May have been the one by the lake? Who knows? But his voice was fading fast. He'd given the answer before what memory this was had finished fading. But what was I meant to do with this information? There was a medal where Osmond did his best work? Well then, there were only a few places that could be. I slowly opened my eyes, my head throbbing gently with a vague feeling of pain. Or maybe not pain, but maybe as if the inside of my skull had been itchy and I'd just given it a good scritch. Scritchy scratch. Okay, Pisces, yeah, the lake one was Dean. Okay, didn't we do a date with Dean there? Huh. I'm forgetting. But yeah, Gemini, I think, is Tyson. Okay. Yeah, and then we don't know the other four. No spoilers! I don't know. Honestly, I'm not going to really care too much. I'm going to die. This Dave is going to die choking on his own water. I slowly opened my eyes, my head throbbing gently with a vague feeling of pain. Or maybe not pain, but as if the inside of my skull had been itchy and I'd just given it a good scratch. For the most part, my throat felt dry and I needed water. Then coffee. Then breakfast. Then a massage. Then a slow walk on the beach. Just thinking about food made my stomach growl. Something that I wasn't expecting, but it was nice having an appetite again. The heavy arm around me half pinned me in place to Dean's front. Lucky. And I struggled with the prospect of either getting up to get coffee or staying comfortable with my boyfriend. Another growl from my stomach made my mind up, and I gingerly moved Dean's arm so I could sip. I could sip the coffee. Another growl from my stomach made my mind up, and I gingerly moved Dean's arm so I could slip free and sip the coffee. The moment I wasn't against him, though. He reached out to grab something to replace me, and I sipped my pillow into his arms. Nice. There was a moment where I thought that he might wake up, but that dopey smile on his face as he cuddled the pillow told me he was still thoroughly asleep. Leaning over, I kissed him lightly on the cheek before I got out of the bed proper. Once I was dressed, I headed downstairs. The house was quiet, although that was likely due to me being one of the first people up, if not the first. When I got to the kitchen, it was cold and untouched, which just meant I had the pleasure of turning on the coffee machine and getting breakfast started. Looking in the pantry and the fridge, though, I started to wonder just how long what food we had was going to last. Those of us in the mansion, 3 meals a day at best. Y'all eat 3 meals a day? Laughs in 1 to 2 meals per day. Weak. I kid, I should probably eat 3 meals a day. Eat 3 meals a day, it's healthy! Those of us in the mansion, 3 meals a day at best, for another week at least. I frowned, thinking about how we'd start to ration things. The freezer still had a good stockpile, but I was going to miss having milk in my coffee if they didn't have powdered stuff. But even that wasn't the same. Pacing the kitchen, my mind went back to my dream, trying to piece it together. Where he does his best work. Dave, are you as dense as Nico? Please don't tell me you're as dense as Nico. Part of me was expecting Thanatos to show up, and I scanned the kitchen for him. But nothing. Breakfast is ready! Breakfast time! I burst into the dining room just as everyone seemed to have settled into their seats. That said, what I had just made for breakfast paled in comparison to the last big breakfast I'd made. Wait, 8 meals a day? You're supposed to eat 8 meals a day? Yeah, but of course not full meals. Yeah, just small stuff every now and then. I like that idea. I think that's called like grazing, where you just eat small amounts like throughout the day. Like my metabolism works best with that personally. I just sometimes forget to eat, and I'm like, that's why I get bad at like, doing frequent meals. But yeah, if I totally was like focused on that and like in my game to do that and was doing what I like to do most for my stomach, I like to just graze throughout the day, have something by my side to snack on. Maybe if it's like towards like a lunch or dinner time, maybe wait like maybe an hour or two to have a slightly bigger snack. I don't know. But yeah, I remember as a kid, I wouldn't be able to do that because my parents would be like, you gotta wait till dinner. You can only have a tiny little snack. I'd be like starving for like 3 hours. Like me just personally being like, I'm hungry. Not like them starving me. It's just that, I just, had to wait long to, between lunch and dinner or whatever. Just because, lunch at noon, dinner at 6, whatever, as a kid. Then I grew up and became an adult, and I did my own stuff, because being an adult, yeah. I'll probably eat after this, though. I probably will be hungry after this. I had a late lunch. Anyway. So, what's for breakfast? Looks like toast. Did you struggle? If you needed help, you could have just said so. I'd have been happy to help. I mean, There's this one hair I was talking to the other day, and he was telling me about his poor friend who just could not cook to save his life. Oh boy, time to ban somebody. The ban hammer is coming. And okay. No, I'm just being mindful about how much food we have left. The comment made everyone look at the toast and then to me quickly. I felt a little nervous about how people were going to react, but no one said anything about it. Well, what's everyone's plans for today?
No plans on my end. All things considered, no plans are good plans, right?
What makes you say that?
Well, after yesterday, I imagine people won't necessarily want to do anything, right?
We can't just do nothing.
Any ideas then?
If we're running low on food, I can't say we can readily make something in the kitchen as a group. It's something I should probably check too, and then we could have a plan to properly ration things out if needed.
I don't think things are that dire just yet, but it's worth checking.
Foraging is likely out too, given how dangerous the woods are now. And, given that, you know what happened to me on day... whatever it was. Speaking of the danger, do we know what we're going to be doing about that? Thanatos said that we have a couple of days of breathing room. I nodded slowly, thinking back to the past few days. A break was nice, and even if he was lying, there was a chance what he said was the truth. He did? That's a relief. Although I don't think it's wise to go letting our guard completely down. Just in case. I agree, but what do we do?
Shy of keeping watch and arming ourselves just in case, there isn't much alternative, is there?
It's not as if we can go get guns either. Just checking to make sure I kept the dog inside. Yep, she's chill. Cool. I'm dog sitting too as I house sit. There's a dog in the house. Wait, did I say that line? Pass Dave, get your head together! It's not as if we can go get guns either.
Why not?
I don't know, there's a giant cliff with a hole in it. Benson has them locked away in his room, behind another locked door. Apparently the keys are safe.
Did he say where the keys were, just in case?
Just that they were safe.
Well, that's not an answer.
How the hell can I, like... Oh, man. Oh, man, this poor just... I don't know how I can, like, just permaban somebody. I said to hide the user. God damn it. Oh, that's probably why. They put a new name on there. We're going to have a problem here, aren't we? everybody's sad about the explicit material. You just made Dean sad because of the explicit material. Anyway.
Well, that's not an answer.
You think he's lost them? Or maybe he doesn't want anyone to know where they are, just in case they want to do something bad with them. Okay, that's a little dangerous, isn't it? You know, in case we need them? It'd be more dangerous to harm someone that doesn't know how to use a gun properly. Yeah, very good words, Sal. Very helpful. Anyway, I looked across to Orlando with a frown. For a moment, Benson's face flashed in my mind after the investigation yesterday, but something about the event made me worry about Orlando. I just couldn't place why.
I guess that's true. What weapons does that leave us with, should we need them, though?
I might see if I can get that sword from the suit of armor upstairs. It's only bolted in place, so a wrench of some sort should get it free. A sword? Really? Better than nothing. I'd agree. Otherwise, we only have things from the kitchen. We also have the axe in the greenhouse. Although I figure I'll dig that up should we need to. Why would you get the axe? Who will have the sword then?
Given the size, I imagine Sal is the one that could handle it. That or a shovel, maybe.
What's anyone going to do with a shovel? Dig someone up, maybe? Dig something up? Or bury something? Or a makeshift crowbar? Glancing at Tyson showed he had some level of pride and threw me a subtle thumbs up. I wasn't sure if I should be happy about that or not, but the conversation moved on regardless. Yeah, at least they could name it something gay. Still would ban them, but yeah, honestly, crazy. It's like, why are all these straight spam channels coming here? And I'm like, this is a gay LGBT general, like, non-straight, typically channel. And they're just like, girls. I'm like, what? Anyway. Somehow, I don't think that's going to come up, Dave. There are no girls in this visual novel. So, we've got checking the kitchen for our food supply and gathering weapons should we need them. That's what we're doing today. Plus, whatever Benson and Oswin have in mind. You think so? It's their house after all. Maybe they could have hidden a store of food or some other idea of what we could be doing.
I agree. Plus, we'll need to keep tabs on Thanatos as well, just in case I can get any more insight on what's to come.
Good luck getting him to help us.
Oh, I have no intention of going to find him. That job is absolutely yours.
Thanks, Roswell. Very helpful. Why me? He seems to like you enough. Or, well, you've had more experience with him anyway. That's, probably fine. It worked out well enough given the dream I had last night. If anyone could answer my questions, it'd be him. Alright. We should split up into groups then.
How about Sal, myself, and Tyson handle getting ourselves sorted as far as weapons and other supplies, while the others handle the food?
Wasn't Dean going to get the sword?
Anyone can use a wrench to undo a bolt. Plus, its forging absolutely needs to be considered. It's better for the person that knows how to do it that be present, right?
I guess that's fair.
I think you're forgetting about Dave in there, Haas. Oh, I didn't forget. I figure he'll do as he normally does and float between the groups.
Dave, are you fine with that? I guess so. I can always keep an eye out for Thanatos in the meantime, too.
Perfect. Dean, Orlando, to the kitchen!
Roswell gathered up a few of the dishes to... Yeah, Roswell did gather up a few of the dishes. He is doing his fair share. Roswell gathered up a few of the dishes from breakfast and wandered into the kitchen. The other two followed suit and flashed me a smile on their way out.
Come on, big dog. We have supplies to get.
Then the others left in the same way, leaving me behind in the dining room. Normally, I would have felt strange being left out like this, but my mind was attached to seeking answers from a certain rat. I will get you, Thanatos! Thanatos, are you around? Thanatos. Thanatos. Calling out for him seemed like the safest place to start. His habit of just being around made it seem like I could just call and he'd be there. Though that was hardly working. Are you down here? It hadn't occurred to me just how difficult he might be to find, given that he could just as easily avoid being found and left me in the lurch. I found myself standing in front of the vault door. This was all that rat was, a computer attached to a room holding a secret. With a frown, I inspected the input panel. There was a word that existed that opened the door, but part of me deep down said that I'd never know what that word would be. Something about that panel drew my attention and I leaned in a bit closer. At first I thought I'd seen something, but it was something I'd heard instead. Almost like the churning of heavy metal combined with the sound of a clock ticking. I didn't think bomb and more felt that it was closer to breathing. That this sound was the mechanical version of weather was beating in my chest. Thanatos, can you hear me? There was nothing that came as a reply, but I continued speaking anyway. If he could see everything that happened in front of this door, there was no doubt in my mind that if not now, but sometime, he'd come and pay a visit. I had a dream last night, but it wasn't... What I mean to say is, you didn't make me remember anything, right? That wasn't you? Again, the silence stretched out, making me fidget. How traumatic can an event be for me to remember it? How can I tell the difference between what's a dream and what's a memory? A dry laugh found its way out of my mouth and I shook my head. Are there even more passwords for me to find? Are there any more? For me to remember?
That depends.
Oh, God. I immediately turned on my heel and looked back towards the door. Standing just out of view was Thanatos, his beady red eyes glowing softly in the dark. Depends on what. You, mostly. I'd rather there be no more passwords if I had my say. Why? Because that means nothing bad happened and I didn't have to step in and prevent it. Or the opposite. That this is just the first time around this set of variables and it's your job to survive long enough for a password to be made. Only you'd know that, right? Yes and no. There's always a third option. Being whatever you experienced last night. I didn't cause. Maybe I'm rubbing off on you. Okay, don't go telling Ross. Well, he might get jealous I'm developing psychic powers. He seemed to regard this statement carefully for a few moments, measuring his words. Yeah, I bet he would get jealous. Is there any way to tell the difference between what's a dream and what's a memory? Not really. Not at all? Well, with how consistent you are. Not that I know of anyway. What makes you think that what you saw was a memory? It was strange. It was like I was there, but I wasn't. Like I was looking through the eyes of the me that, yeah, real easy to follow. Sorry. It was almost like an out-of-body experience, but in-body experience instead? Listen, I had nothing to do with whatever it was you saw. Could be a dream, could be a memory, but whatever it was, I don't have a clue as to what you're talking about. I frowned, thinking back to the dream. We were outside, and you had just given me a vision, I think. That ain't narrowing it down. Thanatos was really like, okay, do you really know how little that limits things down? Or whatever the Batman meme was, where the guy was like, do you know how many people that is? And there was talk about Jack, a plan or something. I think you're better off asking yourself if that was sufficiently traumatic to even be a thing to recall. You have a point. Think about it this way. You can't remember anything unless you've been traumatized by the event. He backed up a little, half shrouding himself in the darkness of the basement. So, tell me, Dave, that line up to your dream? Well, not really. Then you just had a dream. Nothing else. You sure? I'm sure. You don't sound it. Look, if you want to fight about it, then give me something to work with. I have other things I need to be doing right now anyway. Such as... Okay. What's more important than helping me figure this out? Making sure Benson behaves himself. And what does that mean? Remember the favor I asked Oswin yesterday? Oh, right. But why did you ask that anyway? I thought you said we had some breathing room. If you let me go do... If you let me go do what I need, then yeah. Wait. If you let me go do what I need to, then yeah. You will. It hinges on Benson not firing his gun. But who did he even shoot? You'll find out soon enough. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. Thanatos disappeared into the darkness, and before I could cross the distance of the room to the door, he was gone for good. That could be interesting. Maybe Dave would remember it in like path B or C or whatever else. Maybe enough traumatic stuff has helped him trigger that memory. Maybe in path A things are too good to have him mention it. I don't know. I don't know if we screwed up. Did we screw up already? Yeah, I don't know. I wandered back upstairs and looked around the foyer. No sign of Benson yet, but with Thanatos tracking him down, I guess I didn't have to worry. That just left Oswin. We didn't see him at breakfast, so unless he was in his lab, he could be... Well, the places he could be were pretty limited. Maybe one of the others had seen him. Thinking back to what Haas said, I was due to float between the groups, and now seemed like a good time as any to check in. Kitchen group, museum group, tough choice. Where's the save? Give me the options, damn it! Tell me! That's the one thing I don't like about... Oh, it's data, that's why. I'm like, shoot, where the hell's the save? It's always data, god damn it. We'll just save here. What's the worst that could... I wonder if there's any more spaces to save. What's the worst that could happen? I played through all paths. Jesus, man. Jesus, pal. Jesus, pal. I do not know how you could do that. There's 6 paths. Or no. Yeah, there's 6 paths now. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, 7. 7 paths and 6 routes. How? How? Okay, somebody's saying kitchen as a guess. I wonder if we get the chance to do both and it's just what order we do it in. Sometimes they do that just to make you, just to trick you. Or to give you the freedom of illusion. This is gonna be the big difference. This determines if we live or not. I don't know. I'm gonna sip some water to help me decide. Staying hydrated will help you make decisions. I feel a lot more clear-headed. If nobody else says anything, I will go to the kitchen. No objections? Let's go. Kitchen. As I entered the kitchen, the others were already thoroughly assessing what was available as far as food. But the attitude in the room seemed to show that things might not be so great with the food after all. We can make this work, but if things go longer than a week, with how many of us there are, that bad, huh? It's not looking good. At least as far as the refrigerator goes. Plenty of sundries still. Rice, flour, plenty of things that we could stretch out potentially, but, well, even that's finite. Part of me is thankful that we carved the pumpkin when we did. Still a lot of that left in the freezer to work through. Which is good, right? If it comes down to it, we can't afford to be picky. Depending on when the road issue gets addressed.
even beyond working with whatever may come at us from the woods. We might have to last a couple of weeks yet.
Which isn't good. I said that, right?
You did, yeah.
Especially when,
Eyes went to Roswell and he just shrugged. I don't know, like, sometimes I'm hearing little beeps from time to time. I think that's just like, I don't know, air conditioning stuff or whatever. Yeah. As long as nobody's busted into the house, we're good. Anyway. Get back to reading, Dirk. Didn't mean to hit that one, but sad me now realizes the actions of their consequences. Anyway, eyes went to Roswell and he just shrugged.
If it happens, it happens. There's no point worrying about it and planning around one less person.
Right. We have to assume that we can feed everyone still here, right?
Not exactly what I was getting at, but yeah.
Then what were you getting at? That there would be less?
It's a possibility. A grim one, but one that might make the food stretch longer.
that's, well,
So long as we don't start deciding who to kill off, we're fine, right? We're all still friends?
Of course we are, Dave. It's not as if, well, I suppose the talk of yesterday has kind of muddied that a little, right?
You're going to take that rat's word that one of us is a traitor?
I thought he said that no one was.
Dean, for someone that was dating a Tanuki, you sure can't piece 2 and 2 together.
I'm sorry.
He means that Thanatos really meant that it was one of us. He was taunting us in our assuredness that none of us were guilty.
Which one is it, though?
If anyone would know, it'd be him. But something tells me he's going to be less generous in telling us to who it is to the point... Wait. If anyone would know, it'd be him. But something tells me he's going to be less generous in telling us who to point the finger at.
What something is that, Roswell? That he openly admitted to trying to kill one of us, or that he's a walking, talking rat?
Robot.
Like that makes any difference. It might make a little. Like, I don't know, he's not telling us everything for sure, but he's also been questionably fair. The moment the words left my mouth, I doubted them. Press X to doubt. A sentiment shared by everyone except Roswell. Roswell did not press X.
In a sense, that's true. If he was truly malicious, then he wouldn't have allowed you to put in passwords, right?
But the trade-off is that if Dave didn't step in, then...
One or more of us could be dead. And it'd be his fault.
Take Tyson, for example. Who knows what would be different if you hadn't stepped in, Dave?
I'd rather not think about it.
Right. But the fact that he allowed you to intervene rather than carry out the deed anyway.
He shrugged, shaking his head.
whatever his motives are, they're beyond me.
Well, they sound complicated. Complicated is one way of putting it. That doesn't help us figure out if we can or can't trust him, does it? I wouldn't. But if it's a choice between someone who's proven to help keep people alive, even if it requires a special word, it's better than the alternative for sure. On things we can control, though, we might need to not worry about foraging, but if it comes to that, I have it covered. But what about how dangerous the woods are? Hey, I can handle going out in the woods. If it makes you feel any better, I won't go out there unless I've got an axe or a gun if I can find one. Even then, only as a last resort, right? I nodded slowly, not really liking the idea of my boyfriend heading out there by himself, but if anyone could do it, it'd be him.
As far as it being an option, it's good to know that we have one should the food run out. Or, well, run low. Let's not think about running out, shall we?
Absolutely. We're a long ways off that, but it's nice to go if it's there. So, if food is handled, what now?
I guess meal planning. While we have the food, it's probably a good idea to figure out how to use it and what we have to use it efficiently, right?
Probably a good idea. It seems like we have a fair bit, but it might turn out to be more than we realize once we plant actual meals.
Anyway, I can help with that at all. If Orlando can plan the meals, we can act as runners around the kitchen to call out what we need to do and what we do and do not have.
Which means I'm not needed. You're welcome to stay if you want, but between the three of us, we should have it. Alright. Probably not a bad time to check in with the others anyway. Of course I knew this would happen. See how they're going with that sword or whatever, right? Feel free to let them know we have the food situation under control. If it's one less thing to worry about, better that they know sooner rather than later, right? With a nod, I left the three of them to sort out the food properly and make my way upstairs to the museum. To the museum! And to the ad break. I don't know. Not ad break, but just to the break, whatever it is. I'm just gonna have a break because I am gonna need to take a little sip of water. And everything just glitched out as I moved things. Okay, that's always great. Nothing bad is happening, I swear. Whatever. It's close enough. I'm using computer. I don't have any other monitors at the moment, like at home. Anyway, I'll be right back. We will take a little break to help my throat rehydrate. The illusion of choice indeed. And I did see Trinx's comment earlier. Yeah, I would be curious to do that, maybe on a Discord run or something. Anyway, I'll be back.
Okay, folks, I think I'm going to get things back up and running in a bit. I'm trying to keep these breaks kind of between 3 to like maybe 6, 7 minutes max. Just to give you all a little time to like walk around, stretch, go to the bathroom. But yeah, also for me to refill water and stuff. Yeah, but I'm also going to try a little thing called standing up while doing this. So, yeah. Just, my thing is twisting. My mic cord be twisting. Anyway, we'll get started in a second. Or 2. Alright, let's bring it back to this screen. And yeah, let's get started in 10 seconds. Just pulling up all the right windows in all the right places. Anyway, when I got to the museum, all 3 of them seemed to be standing in front of the suit of armor. No progress seemed to have been made. Guys?
Oh. Hey, Dave.
I'm guessing getting the sword out isn't going well.
When splitting the groups up like this, I don't think the actual need for a wrench was going to get in the way.
I thought the fact that it was bolted down was pretty indicative that it wasn't meant to be moved. But if it was only bolted down and not welded down, we can remove it, right? Not without a wrench.
So, what have you been doing this whole time then? Rather than getting a tool from downstairs?
Just talking.
About nothing important, really. Oz and I were talking about family. Or trying to.
But
Tyson kept chiming in about his brother.
Was not. Hoss, what was the last thing Tyson said about Dave? Hoss! Damn you, Hoss! I'm going to suplex you!
Tyson?
Sal?
Dave? Anyway,
So, he said you were pretty dumb sometimes, but he loved you anyway, Dave.
Aw, how sweet.
dude!
I guess I love you too, Ty.
Thanks. You two are very strange. But I suppose that's just what brothers are like.
Grimacing slightly, I looked at the sword we were all standing around, thinking it was about time we got back to getting this free. So, if we don't have a tool to get this out, what should we do? Go and get one, maybe?
Admittedly, I'd be happy to just linger for some time now. Or, admittedly, I'm happy to just linger for the time being.
I agree.
But weapons?
Getting this sword out will get us nowhere anyway. Sal could use it, but Dean maybe? But it's not even sharp.
Plus, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. What is a sword, not just a bigger knife?
So, we need guns?
Yep, guns are the solution.
Lots of guns.
Totally a good idea. More and more guns. Oh god, totally not commentary. Dear Lord.
We really don't.
Someone has a brain.
I mean, besides, the bare minimum is going to do us just fine.
I don't think most of us even fired a gun before. There's every chance that we'd be doing more damage to ourselves than those we might protect ourselves against.
But it is better to have one than not in this case.
I'd say it's better to not be in a position where we need to weigh that up. Long past that chance.
I'm afraid I agree. But, a knife isn't going to do much better, huh?
Not if you're going to wait for them to come to us.
It's not like any one of us is planning on heading out to see them first, right?
I'm not too sure about that, really.
What makes you say that?
Orlando's father, mostly.
Meaning?
I can foresee a problematic situation where Orlando may try and bargain for our lives to get himself in trouble. Plus, doing so before they make it here would give them the largest buffer lest someone gets in the way. You think he'd really do that? Isn't he a bit of a wimp for that?
Hey,
Hey, everyone's scared sometimes, Tyson. Just depends on what and when.
And Memphis is absolutely the kind of person that would latch onto whatever it is that gets you to cover. And Memphis is absolutely the kind of person that will latch onto whatever it is that gets you to cower.
what does Memphis fear?
That I do not know. Must be something pretty messed up.
It could be anything. Maybe he is afraid of rats for all we know.
So we just sick Thanatos on him?
We would be so lucky that it's something easy. I doubt it, though. Maybe he doesn't like anime.
Listen, he's evil already. Not liking anime is just a given.
But isn't his family from, you know, the tennis ace password crossover foreign affairs?
Japan?
Isn't that racist?
Being Japanese isn't racist. Not liking anime is, a mortal sin.
Please don't say racist.
This honestly sounds like a Discord conversation that's somebody made for the memes. It's like, not liking anime is, Sal, please don't say racist, don't say racist. Oh my god.
He probably likes anime. It's just a good bet that people do, right? I think Haas has tainted your mind on how many people like anime versus those who don't.
Sal, even you like anime. Big strong guy like you that lifts weights and has a deep voice isn't what most people would imagine when liking anime. Me being a small guy with a high-pitched voice, that's who they imagine liking anime. And also sounding nerdy too. Yeah.
Who did they imagine?
Haas. Mostly Haas. It's Haas.
Pretty much.
I do believe Dave meant it another way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, It's cringe. Very cringe. It is not even mid. It is just straight unpog.
Rude.
He's right, though.
Dude, you're almost as bad.
Am not. Sal, how bad is he? I don't think that I know for certain, but I know it's a slippery slope from what I've heard from Orlando.
Remind me to watch myself around Orlando more from now on.
Either way, I don't think we can bank on Memphis fearing anime enough that it's enough of a defense mechanism. I'm waiting for anime to be the next password. It was anime the whole time! Which means we need something a bit more reliable. Yeah, well, unless you've got an arsenal somewhere you haven't told us about, we still have to find something.
I'm sure we will. Worst case scenario, we can just grab a tool to get this sword free and achieve the bare minimum we set out to do.
Guessing you don't need me here for that. Do you have somewhere you need to be? I've already checked in with the others, so I figure now's a good enough time as any to see if I can find Benson. Oh, speaking of, they have the food situation under control for what it's worth. He hasn't shown up yet.
Oh, that's a surprise. I would have thought we'd have seen him by now. At least with how present he's been lately.
Need me to relay a message, sir? Or need me to relay a message, or... We'll be fine, I think. Though, if we struggle, we'll call out. Benson? None of the others seem to have seen him so far, and with him missing at breakfast too, it was strange that he hadn't made himself known. My mind immediately went to the worst, fearing that he'd been an unsuspecting victim while the rest of us had been distracted. The only thing stopping me from going into a full-blown panic was that Thanatos had said earlier, and what he said. He'd known for certain if Benson had been done in, and I'm sure... Wait, I totally messed up that line. The only thing stopping me from going into a full-blown panic was what Thanatos had said earlier. He'd know for certain if Benson had been done in, and I assumed that he'd have said something. Taking a load off by sitting on the stairs, I looked around the foyer, wondering where I should be looking. For a brief moment, I wondered if I should head back to one of the other groups and help them rather than sit and do nothing. But that's when I heard it, echoing through the foyer. The distinct sound of knocking coming from the front door. Oh, okay. What? A guest? Please don't tell me it's a bad guest. My fur stood on end, and I wasn't sure how to think at first. Knocking could only mean one thing. But should I answer the door? The knocking happened again, and this time it was more insistent. Enough so that I stood and took a couple of steps closer to the door. If it was Benson, he'd just walk in. Same with Oswin and the others. Any of them. Who's there? The moment I'd spoken, I drew back, feeling like I shouldn't have asked. Open up. We need to talk about something. Open it. Thanks, Thanatos. Very helpful. I almost jumped as Thanatos seemed to come out of nowhere. standing next to me. And as usual, he scrambled up my leg and perched on my shoulder. You again. Who is it?
It's safe. Open it.
Before I could question him about it, the knocking happened again. Although it was closer to slamming rather than anything polite. I could hear the others start to approach the foyer, but with Thanatos whipping the back of my head with his tail, I opened the door. Who is it? Please don't be him! Huh? Okay, who the heck are you? And why are you so big? Why are you wearing a wife beater? I was greeted to a meaty hand poised in front of my face, though dropped limply after noticing the door had opened. Hello?
You're not a Hammond.
He looked down at me. The slight tilt in his head and narrowing of his eyes made me wonder what he was thinking. But before I could even try to stop him, he pushed his way inside. As he looked around the place, I looked at Thanatos, but there was nothing in how he reacted that implied that something was wrong as much as the feeling in my gut told me I was in danger. You were after Hammond?
Yeah. Need to talk to them about something. Go get one, will you?
No, Benson, don't do it! I believe I'll suffice for that. Benson, much like Thanatos, seemed to have popped out of nowhere and seemed stiff in how he stood in the doorway of one of the side rooms. He made his way over, and once the large bear had turned his attention away from me, I took a few steps back.
You're not a Hammond either. But I remember you.
May I ask what you're doing here?
Came to talk.
About?
Wanted to cut a deal.
The others all filed in at this point. 3 stopping midway down the stairs, the others in the doorway leading to the dining room. The bear looked at everyone in turn, seemingly lingering on Roswell before he noticed someone on the stairs.
Us? That you?
Dong?
I'm gonna make you my sub. Well, ain't you a sight for sore eyes? How've you been?
I've been better.
Haas is like,
Yeah, I know this guy.
Haas seemed to know him and, more importantly, was relaxed around him. But why? As he stepped forward, I noticed the gun tucked into the back of his pants. And I looked one more to Thanatos, who just shook his head. Benson seemed to notice it too, but only tensed further.
No shit.
Before we get too distracted, Dominic, was it?
Just Dom is fine.
The foyer is hardly a comfortable place to be having a lengthy discussion. Shall we move to the dining room?
Sure. That's fine.
Wait! Wait! All eyes were on me, and I slowly raised a hand to point out the gun Dom had tucked away. Gun! Gun! It's like, everybody's like, he's like, gun! Yeah? That is a gun, Dave. I am losing my mind right now. Absolutely losing it.
What about it?
May I ask you why you came armed?
Don't see what the big deal is, given you've got a piece on you right now.
Surely there is a good reason to given we have a sudden, unexpected visitor while the road off the mountain is currently missing.
Got me there. All right.
Well,
Well, what? You're not taking my gun.
why do you have one though?
In case things got ugly. Lucky for you, I'm just here to talk this time.
Tom led the way to the dining room with Dean, Roswell, and Orlando backing off to let him pass. He pulled out a chair and dropped into it, stretching and leaning back while the rest of us tried to figure out what to do. You were after a Hammond, yes? If you wait here, I shall go fetch the master of the house.
Suits me fine.
Benson shot Roswell a look, then the same to Haas before making to leave. I shall not be long.
Bit uptight, isn't he? Hasn't changed much, has he, Hoss?
Yeah, well, things have been rough lately.
Guessing I know why.
What would your guess be?
Figure that's 'cause of Jack.
Dear God, not him again. The name made me shudder briefly and shake my head. Thanatos took this chance to drop down onto the table and cocked his head towards the chair that I should fall into. Faints into chair.
Yeah, that's one thing. Although, why do you know that?
Jack and I.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. He trailed off and the room was quiet. I looked around, wondering if something was happening or someone was going to interrupt, but it never happened. You and Jack?
We're work buddies.
No! Don't say that! Work buddies. Right.
What'd you want me to say?
Oh, you said plenty. What I want to know is why my dad sent you to come. Talk.
That's between me and the Hammond.
Speaking of, here I am.
Good to see ya.
He's about to just curb stomp Oswin. No, don't do it. Don't curb stomp him. Oswin grunted, not bothering to sit down, and just looked Dom over, raising his eyebrows. Dom is cracking his fingers right now. Right at this moment, I bet he's cracking his fingers. What do you want?
Came to cut a deal.
About?
The boss wants what you have and isn't fussed if he has to come in and take it.
I told him he can't have it.
And I'm telling you, he's gonna come take it away. Your call.
This is sounding less like a deal and more like a threat. It may as... Oh, I thought he was happy for a second. It may as well be. He came armed and everything.
Look, you want to stick around, then great. None of us mind getting our hands dirty. But if we don't have to, then we'd rather the easier job. So the deal you're offering is to stand back to keep our lives while he comes charging in to take whatever he wants?
Pretty much.
Hold on. How did you even convince him to come and talk without him just charging in?
Is enough. You all clearing out means we don't have to make the bodies disappear. Easier job.
You can't be serious.
You tell me. He's your dad.
Orlando went to reply but cut himself off, eyes still wide and seemingly unable to refute anything just said. That's all we need to do? Just stay out of the way? Tell Memphis that we declined the deal.
What?
No deal. But we just got handed an out! We can all survive if we just stay out of the way! Do you believe Memphis is one to keep his word?
So you're just going to piss him off instead?
I'd rather die standing than having him chase us down anyway once he's realized what he's after is something that doesn't exist. But you're dooming all of us by making that decision. Let me see if I understand the situation completely. Perhaps I've made a mistake somewhere in my assumption.
It's not that hard. You have a machine or something in the basement. The boss wants it.
And has he told you what exactly it is?
Time machine.
And if I told you it wasn't?
You think that's going to matter to the boss? He's already decided that's what it is.
So what you understand that whatever I give him isn't going to be what he's after, and he's going to go on a tirade regardless? So, we're stuck. No matter what we do, he's going to come looking for something that doesn't exist, and then hunt us down to make us give him it, or kill us when we don't? My question was answered with resigned silence. My friends at a loss for words. Oswin staring at Dom, trying to figure out something, and Dom just sitting there as if he just asked us what the weather was like.
How long do we have? Until...
He comes knocking, presumably.
Basically, yes. Hours? Days? He was set on paying a visit tomorrow if I came back with bad news. Could maybe get you a day or two.
But why?
We're not hurting for food or shelter. Taking it easy for another day or two suits me fine if it means an easier job. But if it's going to end up in a murder anyway, then what's the point? If we don't have to call in a favor to a buddy of ours to skew the trial for us, all the better. Made bank off the boss before, but that's nothing to keep him out of jail.
And with that much capital to waste, I doubt he even noticed the cost.
That too.
Do you know why he wants the time machine?
You ain't telling me it really is a time machine now.
It is not a time machine.
Oh no, why did we say that? Why, Dave? Dave, no! You know it's out of time machine, why'd you say that? Oswald shot me a sour look before turning back to Dom. I am, however, also curious as to what specifically he wants with what's downstairs. While it's not a time machine, I'm curious to know what he wants it for.
Hasn't said much. Just that he has some correcting to do.
Correcting?
Getting rid of an old man properly, for starters.
But he can't just, you know.
Roswell made a pistol gesture with his hand, pretending to shoot Orlando.
Guess not.
I'm at a loss for what that small-minded dragon is thinking then. But I'll have no part in it. What about the deal, though? Dave, there's been no deal struck that isn't just a ploy to delay the inevitable.
Could sweeten it if you like.
What do you have in mind?
Can you tell how we got onto the mountain if you... Or can tell you how we got to the mountain if you want. Give you a head start while the boss makes a go at the thing downstairs.
We can go home?
Don't care where you go. All I'm saying is, I'll tell you how we got here.
Not exactly a good deal if you're just going to say the main road, given it's likely you also blew it up.
Jack did the explosion, but we came up another way.
And this other way is still usable?
If you can get there, sure.
I swapped looks with Oswin. Silently, I pleaded with him, but I couldn't tell where his mind was at. What I did catch was him look quickly to Roswell, then back to me, before turning back to Dom. Counteroffer.
Oh, yeah?
Memphis can't get the machine working without me, with it being a time machine or not. So, an exchange is what I'll offer at the very least in good faith.
What are you thinking? You for someone else?
How is this even a good idea? You're going to go, and we're going to end up with one of them here.
No. Me plus one other shall go. Please don't say it's me. If it's gonna be Dave, we're absolutely gonna lose our shit. Our shit lost. This situation, whack.
What are you playing at?
I shall go as collateral. In addition, one of the others will come along so they can be shown what this other method off the mountain is. They'll be free to come back and relay that information, obviously. Benson made to retort, and Oswin put up a hand quickly, indicating that he should hold off. Those are my terms.
Don't think the boss is going to like that.
But who's going to go?
Assuming Memphis is fine with this agreement, it shall be you and me. The reason why should be more than obvious. Wait, what? Okay? I guess because of what we found out on day 20 or 19 it was about Roswell's condition, but I don't know if that's any better. This is gonna be horrifying. Okay, I looked at him worried. I knew what he was talking about, and I didn't think that the promise I made only a day ago would be cashed in already.
Already told you the boss isn't gonna like that.
Then the deal is off. Either we play by my terms, or not at all. And I know what that means for us once you finish telling Memphis that. I was floored. Everyone in this room seemed to be, with the exception of Benson, who was fuming. Dominic, who seemed to be thinking it over, and Roswell, who just seemed worried.
Best I could do is see if he'll play nice with that argument.
Should he be agreeable to those terms, by all means come pay us another visit. He shook his head, gesturing to Benson as he made to leave. Feel free to stay as long as you like. If you were to kill us, you'd have done so already. He made another gesture to Thanatos, but gave up when it seemed the rat was going to stay right where he was. I watched as Roswell took his leave as well, heading into the kitchen deep in thought. The rest of us swapped looks, not knowing what to do next.
What?
Well, it's not as if we really know what to be thinking, right?
How did this even happen? Were you always part of the mob? Is this a new thing? Oh, you.
The Haas and Dom show.
You. Oh, Dom. Pretty new. Was actually that gig which started this up.
Wait, what? Hold on, what gig? The show that was filmed here, or whatever that was?
Gee, thanks for paying attention to the start of my acting career, buddy.
What do you mean by started up? Was it like a recruitment?
Don't think it started that way, but the boss knows what he lacks in a man.
Yeah. Sorry. Serious, Dirk. Get serious. Careful how you phrase that.
If you were a bit bigger built, Hoss, chances are you'd have been recruited too.
Yeah, I'll pass, thanks.
Was that filming even legitimate, or was it just for Dad to scope up new members for the family?
Can't tell you.
Oh, can't or won't.
Can't. I don't know. Took a shine to my buddy Jack, though, and brought him along.
How did I miss this happening? How did I not know that Dad has brought you and Jack in on things? If I did, then maybe I could have just... maybe.
'Cause he thinks you're a piece of shit, really.
Dude, not cool.
Yes.
Oh boy. But still, Orlando's his son, right?
Outside of money and violence, I don't think I've seen the boss crack a smile over anything else. Gets real mad when you bring up his son, though.
Because...
'Cause he's the heir. Old Tennessee's still kicking doesn't do him any favors either.
By context, that'd be...
Wait a minute. Hold on. We need to pause mentally for a second. He said Old Tennessee. You know, as in like Memphis, Tennessee. Is Old Tennessee a nickname for him being Memphis? So by that context, America exists in password. But we do not have a confirmation on if this is actually America, where this particular thing is taking place. I do know for a fact that the creator actually is like, I think like Australian, New Zealand, like something like that area, I think. So, and they didn't they didn't like specify it being like, oh, it's where I am or whatever like that. So we can't take that for anything, but I don't know. There's, you know, based on maybe that context of, yeah, hearing about culture of American states and whatnot, Australians and I think New Zealanders too, like really like American things. Like there's the whole thing about, what is it, like girls liking Australian guys and then Australian girls liking American guys or some weird thing like that. I don't know, but we found out some more information. Anyway.
By context, that'd be...
Oh, never mind. I was wrong. Everybody, I was wrong. Grandpa. Okay, so the grandpa's Tennessee, the son of him, like the father is Memphis. So Orlando, what? Are they just all named after American cities? If Orlando had a kid, it'd be like, I don't know, Austin or Houston. Trying to think of other southern states. What's in Virginia? I'm thinking of like the Chris Chan thing, like Piedmont, Virginia. But yeah, it has to be. Oh, Atlanta would be a girl's name though. What the heck is in Alabama? Is there a Jackson, Alabama? What the heck is there? Anyway, the boss can't do much about who's next in line, what the old man's still about. But once he's gone, well... He wouldn't kill Grandpa, would he? I caught sight of Roswell entering the room again, looking dejected, even with the snacks under his arm. I tuned out what the others were talking about to watch Roswell wander up to where we were all stationed and threw a bag of marshmallows on the table. Oh, hey. Thanks, little man. Oh. Let Roswell have his marshmallows. Roswell gave him a brief scowl before sitting down in a chair himself, burying his face in his hands without touching the snacks he'd strewn about his part of the table. I found myself sitting down nearby, wondering why I felt so off. It was likely everything Dom had told us, the sense of entrapment that was lingering in the air. The worst of it was that Dom seemed completely fine with how rattled everyone was still standing was. Hey, Oz, you remember how the food was on set? He said nothing and just watched as Dom reached out for the bag of marshmallows, tearing it open and shoveling a few into his mouth. Aw. This isn't the marshmallow bears I've asked for. I prefer marshmallow bears. So, you really work for Dad? Sure do. But why? Why not? Pay's alright. Easy jobs every now and again. But... it's against the law. Wait. That's illegal. You can't do that. And? What do you mean, and? Last I checked, you were part of this family too, even if the boss doesn't like it. You're willing to admit that I exist, at least?
but you working for Memphis just... Where do we go from here?
What do you mean?
If this deal doesn't go down well, then that can only mean one thing.
You mean? Uh-oh.
You mean me returning with my buddy Jack and shooting up the place?
I withdrew myself into myself as little as Orlando and Haas looked at one another mortified. No one said anything, and the silence went on long enough that Dom assumed he was correct.
If it comes to it, I have no problems putting a bullet through that pretty face of yours, Haas. That's just what's in the job description.
He shrugged lazily, just standing up.
If I wanted to do it now, I could. I just don't want to. So, what happens now? We can't let him leave after that, can we? Knowing he'll just be back to try shooting us. You think you can stop me from leaving? We outnumber you. And what's gonna happen when I don't touch base with the boss?
Dom turned to me, his toothy smile not fading a bit.
I reckon a certain friend of mine might come looking for his friend.
I could feel my skin crawl under my fur, watching as Dom made his way from where he was sitting to stand behind me. His heavy hands dropped on my shoulders as he leaned in, speaking quietly.
Jack's been wanting to see you again, too. I almost brought him along, but it felt better to hold off so he didn't have any accidents.
I was quaking, looking to Thanatos for any indication as to what we should be doing. Instead, he seemed intent on just lounging back on one of the oversized marshmallows as if it were a beanbag.
So, we're just gonna let him walk? We don't have a choice, do we? Why so angry? I went out of my way to offer you guys an alternative. Yeah, some alternative.
Something felt very wrong about what he was doing, or what was happening. Thanatos' smile seemed to hint at it too. But did that mean I had to step in here or just let things play out?
Anyway, no point sticking around here. Probably about time I headed back.
He didn't bother waiting for us to say anything about him, instead just turning to leave.
Is this really okay? Do we have no other option? We have to run, don't we? We have to make our escape somehow. And how do you imagine we do that, genius?
Tyson was right. Even if we attempted to climb our way off the mountain with what remained of the road, not all of us could make that. It wasn't an option if we all wanted to escape. I noticed Thanatos making a go for my arm and stood as he climbed up my sleeve. He gestured with his hand to the foyer and I went to go have a look. I could see Dom still standing outside, seemingly taking the time to stretch just beyond the threshold of the back door. Wait! He turned to look back at me, and I looked at Thanatos for guidance. Not that he seemed to be paying me any mind, looking instead right at the bear opposite us.
You're leaving already?
No point in sticking around here, is there?
Just. You dropped a lot on us suddenly. Why are you offering us a deal? Really? Why do any of this?
Thought it'd be pretty clear with that. I just want an easier job.
And going through the effort of making a deal with us rather than just showing up with guns is easier?
Are you expecting me to come out and say I don't want to kill anyone? That I'm in some unfortunate position and I'm taking pity on you for being in the wrong place and at the wrong time?
He cocked a smile and I took a step back.
I like my job. It gets messy sometimes. And if I don't have to get messy but still get paid, all the better. Not that I'll mind messy, mind you.
You must be crazy. I don't understand.
Trust me, I know crazy, and Jack has me beat. It's true. Jack is a lot more unpredictable than you are. The rat talks.
He's special.
You're going to go back to Memphis now, right? The rat is actually talking. How is the rat talking?
He's special. I don't know how else to explain it.
I want you to know what you're planning on telling him about your visit. Gonna tell him exactly what happened. I offered a deal. You need to think about it. Not good enough.
Why is that not good enough?
Memphis isn't going to take that. He'll get bored and show up tomorrow anyway. Probably.
Which is why we're not thinking about it. Benson, no! Don't do it! Benson, don't you dare! We're going to take your deal, but we need some days to be ready for what will happen.
How many?
2. Or no, wait.
2.
Stay out of this. Why 2 days?
Trust me, we need 2. So in 2 days, I'll be coming to grab the 2 pigs.
It would appear so, though I have no idea why the rat presumes he can speak for us.
But you need me to make one thing clear to your boss. That the extra time given us isn't going to change anything. Make us sound pathetic.
Tom didn't trust him based on how his eyes narrowed.
That's all. Strange rat.
Yeah. I could see Benson wondering if he should pick up or speak up. Him meeting my eye briefly but missing his opportunity.
All right. 2 days.
Then he just left, turning and wandering away into the trees and out of sight. For a few moments, I just stood there, staring at the spot he disappeared before finding myself lightheaded and I fell to my knees.
Oi, watch it.
Did that just really happen? We have 2 days.
only 2.
All things considered, that could have gone worse.
How much worse?
A few casualties. Oh, I wasn't kidding when I said he was variable. I've had this exact conversation a few times, and sometimes he's killed a couple of you to make a point.
But what happens now?
You have 2 days to figure that out.
I could hear the sigh Benson made and knew exactly who he was directing it to.
Do you know what we should do, Thanatos? No, legitimately. Things are still up in the air. I will need to consider my next move carefully. Otherwise, this go-around is a waste.
2 days. Indeed. Oswin will want to know that we've been afforded some extra time. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Benson.
What?
Did you know I have your key?
Benson's eyes went wide briefly and a hand went into his pocket, but his eyes narrowed once more, relaxing. You lied.
You caught me. Oh well. But good to know you have it on you.
Benson took a step back, eyeing Thanatos and then me carefully. I don't want it. I'd ask if I wanted it. It's not you I'm worried about.
Well, I don't need it right now anyway. If I really wanted it, I'll just come grab it later.
Benson took his leave, presumably to go report to Oswin, leaving me alone with the rat.
Well now, I'm sure you have questions.
Not really.
Not even a little?
Okay. So I do have a couple.
Fire away.
Why did you lie to Benson?
About the key? So I could find out where it was.
You didn't already know?
I had a hunch, but again, comes down to random variance. Me asking to achieve something else.
I see. And that something else is?
He knows what I'm capable of. Now he'll be on his guard for the rest of his cycle.
Which is good?
Bad, actually.
Why? The look I gave him was a mixture of confusion and disgust, but he just laughed it off.
It's for me to work with. Don't worry.
I'm going to worry more if you tell me not to.
You'll have more important things to concern yourself over.
Right. 2 days until Osman and Roswell get taken away by Dom to who knows where.
Are you going to let that happen?
Should I?
That I shall leave up to you. You have 2 days to prepare for the worst. But for now, best to go check with the others.
What did you do?
Nothing. Sale and Horse are just looking for you. There you are.
The moment the back door opened, Thanatos made a break for it and scurried inside.
Were we meant to stop him?
No. It's fine, I guess.
What happened?
Dom just left. But we have our deal set now.
We do. But that will mean Roswell, Oswin.
Hey, we're not going to just let them walk out of here, are we?
I stood up and dusted myself off. Where are the others?
Still reeling, but inside. It's probably best if we touch base as a group and see how everyone is.
We filed into the foyer where everyone was lingering around. Everyone was still dazed, it seemed like. Not that I could blame them. I'm so sorry, everyone. I didn't want. I never thought that.
You didn't send them, did you?
Of course not.
Then stop. Then stop. This isn't your fault.
Guys, Dom just left. Kinda.
Yeah, we watched him leave.
That's not all. Thanatos gave us a couple more days before he'll be back. Until Dad arrives. No. Dom will be back. After that, I don't know.
So when you say a couple of days, do we really have to?
Yeah. 2 days until whatever happens next. Where's Benson now? Gone to talk to Oswin about how the next couple of days are going to go. Now that the deal has been made.
We have a couple of days before he and Roswell leave. Or until the whole mob crew shows up. Please tell me we have some good news about the weapons situation. The sword we couldn't get free without a wrench or something. I thought I made that clear. But we still have the option for guns. Not great for Haas, but all we need is Benson to tell us what they're capped and we're good.
Have you ever fired a gun before?
Have you?
Weapons are only one problem. Food is the other.
Oh.
How bad is the food situation anyway? For the short term, we have enough. Not enough for 3 square meals given the amount of people we have. But we've hardly been doing that anyway.
I noticed you said short term.
Sadly, yes. After we ran the numbers, we can safely have food at our normal rate of consumption for another week or so. Longer if we start rationing immediately.
And after that?
We have foraging as an option, assuming we're able.
I don't think it will come to that. Probably, anyway. After all, 2 days until we might be escaping anyway.
That's assuming everything goes well.
And assuming we don't get
duped. Tom isn't so bad, or wasn't also bad, or, well, it's hard to say exactly how good he is, but compared to Jack, he's a saint.
And then there's Memphis. Without having met Jack, it's hard to know how he compares to Dad, but Dad's horrible.
That I can agree with.
How bad are we talking?
Considering Jack chased you through the forest and waited until you were almost back before making his move, we have a potential baseline.
And here's thinking that he was originally going to be arriving tomorrow.
Speaking of, what's the plan? Are we staying or leaving?
What do you mean?
Well, they're the mob, right? If they show up tomorrow with guns, what are we doing?
Or assuming they won't keep their word?
Or Thanatos is lying?
You'd rather take that chance? I sure as hell don't want to risk it.
Roswell?
I feel like I know what you're going to ask.
In 2 days, you and Oswin are... I mean...
It's for this reason I made you all promise. I made you promise knowing that the worst could happen, and now it has. It is better that I be put in danger so that the rest of you have a better chance of living.
It's hardly the ideal situation, isn't it? A better question is if you're going to be able to go there and back to let us know what the escape route is.
Assuming there is one.
There was something unsettling about how he smiled when he said that. But I shook my head. There has to be. They got on the mountain somehow, and there has to be a way for them to leave without the road getting fixed, right? Otherwise...
Well, shit.
Some vacation, huh?
Roswell's comment hung heavy in the air. Even just scanning around the room, I could tell we were at a loss for what to do. With so much of the day left, how best could we use the time? I should go talk to Oswin about this, right? Silence. I started to wonder if I'd even been heard.
Probably a good idea. If nothing else, it is worth seeing what he thinks of this.
I turned and headed to the basement, figuring the best place to look would be in Oswin's lab. After all, that's where he was most of the time I wanted to see him. Sliding the door open, I was greeted to the familiar green glow of his lab. There he was, sitting at his desk. Oswin. He didn't look up, continuing to type away at his computer, all the way up until I closed the door behind me. I was wondering when you'd come by, Dave. Oswin, what happened today? Did you know that was going to happen? Why would you volunteer yourself? Why would you volunteer Roswell so readily? I stepped forward up to the desk, and he just swiveled around to look at me.
Which question did you want me to question first? Any. Not every day you get to talk to someone like that. Not every day you find out that you're about to make what sounds like a hostage exchange either. He grunted, looking me over. Do you feel I handled that poorly? I don't know. I've never had to negotiate like that before. I had a feeling that this might happen, and I took the path that seemed to benefit us best. By sacrificing yourself? Make no mistake, I've been alone in a room with Memphis before. Chances are, of everyone present, I am most likely to survive a close encounter with him. Plus, the vault offers me some level of protection from the other two at the very least. And Roswell was just because of how long he's got left? In part. Roswell is deceptively slippery, so should the need arise, he may have the best chance of sleeping away. Granted, slipping away in the mortal sense is also in the cards, and he offers the least to lose should that happen. And you're fine with that? Doesn't matter. We hardly have any other options. He stood slowly, wandering over to a shelf and starting to look it over as if searching for something. As for your other questions, only what you know. That we were going to have a visitor. Thanatos was fairly quiet about the specifics. And you stopped Benson from firing his gun. Yes, a relatively easy thing to accomplish, all things considered. I ask, he obeys. Because he's loyal to you. You could also call it love. But what if it was Jack? Or Memphis? It was a gamble I was willing to take. I hardly had a say in the matter. Anyway, Dominic would have shown up regardless, and in hindsight, listening to the rat paid off. There's no sense in worrying about the alternative. And in 2 days, you're just going to go. In 2 days, I will take Roswell with me, and we shall go meet with Memphis. Ideally, Roswell will come back to deliver the news as to what the escape route is, and I shall remain there to ensure Memphis doesn't hunt you all down. Is there... What I mean is, would Memphis... kill me? It's possible. And you're just... okay with that? More than okay. He retrieved something from between 2 books and looked at it, the briefest smile crossing his face. What is that? Just a photo. He placed it in an envelope and sealed it, placing it into his pocket. A photo of who? For who? Even given you just sealed it up. It's another gamble. I feel like I'm on a winning streak at the moment. Sounds like you've been hanging around with Roswell too much. Maybe I have. Oh, that boy sure does have his risky gambits, I will admit. So, what's your plan for the next couple of days? If you're just going to go willingly, then... I don't know. Now that's a question. I have no clue. None at all? Getting you off the mountain is my primary concern. Choosing to arm myself and the like doesn't give me more insurance than you'll make out alive. I'm worried that I'm being too hopeful underneath all the nerves and worries that this is all just a big trap. To be expected. Did you have any more questions? Not really, but I don't know. Have you heard anything about, like, seeing things without the vault? You know, as if you didn't need to use a password. Or having Thanatos do his thing to knock you out? I only asked half-heartedly, but I could see how he immediately tensed up. What? Has this been happening to you? I'm not sure. He moved up quickly, ushering me into a chair and ducking into the side room. He was only gone for a few seconds before he dropped down in the other chair and started examining my eyes. Am I sick? I don't know yet. I'd rather not take the chance. This seems a little overboard, don't you think? Being able to use the vault without actually using the vault is something that Florencia and I had theorized could happen. What does it mean? It means that either the experiment is going very well or horribly wrong and there's no way to tell. Meaning, I'm not going to die, am I? No, Dave. You're not going to die. You're not going to die. He sat back, setting aside the few things he used to examine me with, and breathed through his nose. Morphic resonance, in theory anyway, is just recalling of survival instinct, remember? Right. From a past life with the vault or whatever, right? Very good. Now let's say that you were able to do this at will, rather than when you were in danger. Or the receptors in your brain that fire off stress went off. Oh, we're gonna cheat the system. This sounds like a thing that I said what that thing was. You get annoyed at me. You're right. It does sound like that, and I assure you that it can't happen. It's not how it happens. It's not meant to be how it happens. But are you positive what you've experienced were visions and memories and not just hallucinations? I don't know yet. Thanatos seemed to think what I experienced wasn't nearly traumatic enough, so it doesn't line up. In a way, I'm relieved if curious about. All I can say is that it was the strangest dream I've had in a while. Strange in what way? Strange in the way that where it felt like I wasn't controlling my own body, but I was there looking out of the same set of eyes. Understand that there isn't any readily available resources we can pull from to figure this out. The idea that your survival instinct transcends time and space is already considered pseudoscience. Seems like science enough to me given what's worked so far. Indeed. We sat there like that for a little bit before Osman started to fidget. What is it? Nerves, mostly. Don't worry about it. That's literally the line people say that causes more worry to happen. I've been resolved that my life has been in a constant flux between if I'm actually alive or dead for a while. Or at least ever since things fell apart. You seem pretty alive to me. Living and being alive aren't the same. A big part of me gave up the day Reginald died. I thought it would have been the day the medical trial went wrong. It was the same day. A coup de grace after watching so many die by my hand.
Failing to find an answer to Reginald's condition in time was fitting punishment enough, I feel. That really wasn't a great day for you, was it? So many things went wrong that day. My masterpiece of a vaccine failed. Reginald died. Florencia. Florencia? Oswin's face scrunched up briefly. It was hard to tell if he was upset or tired, but his tone shifted to be softer, I guess. It was an eventful day for my family. What happened to Florencia? Outside losing her brother, along with seeing me crumple, she came out relatively unscathed. Though... Come on, you can't keep trailing off like that. Let me gather my thoughts, boy. I do wonder how she's faring now. If she knows about what's going on here or not. I'd say you could call and check, but... Well, we're still under the jammer, right? 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago she was here, and as luck would have it, you just missed her when your lot arrived on the bus. And she just left. Presumably. I don't think she'll be around after Thanatos seemed to imply as much. Why is it that every time his name comes up, I'm wondering whether or not we can't trust him? Trust that you can't trust him. At least that will work out safer than believing everything he says. You don't think completely trusting him is a good idea? Of course not. He knows things that no person should have a right to know. To that end, it's hard to really know how far to trust him. We're just playthings, after all. I don't like the sound of just being a plaything. Lucky for you, he seems to have taken a liking to you. Or perhaps you're also just his current favorite toy. Sometimes I wish he'd just leave me alone. Other times I'm thankful that he's at least giving me something to keep my friends alive. Could always stop if you want. I don't know how long he'd been there, but he'd stepped out from the shadows on top of the desk. What have you two been talking about? Nothing. Well, nothing important anyway. What do you want, Thanatos? I'm bored. Did you want to play a game? Go entertain him, will you, Dave? I should focus on getting this done. Whatever that is, anyway. Don't bother brushing him off. I'll just tell him if you don't. Fine. It's my will. I'm making a few adjustments, is all. As in, when you die? That sort? That sort, yes. If you don't mind me asking, if you do die, what should we do? Survive. Everything I own, everything that I was, I'm leaving to one person anyway. There's no need to concern yourself over everything else. If I have my way, it'll be a clean transfer. Is it me? It's not you. You need not worry yourself over it. Benson shall be the one to ensure that everything needs to happen does. And if Benson dies too, Florencia will. No. Or no, Florencia will, no. That's correct. Come on, Junior. He is not going to be any more use to you. Besides, like I said, I'm bored. Alright, fine. We left Oswin to his work, and Thanatos guided me through the passage until we came out the other side. I didn't know what sort of game Thanatos perhaps wanted to play, but something did tell me I wasn't going to like it. Well, we're in the basement. The basement was cold, and we stopped in the middle of the room with the lights off. So,
I've been thinking a bit
about
something you said this morning. About the thing you remembered.
I thought you said it was a dream.
That's the thing, isn't it? It has to be.
So?
Let me ask you a question. You've been feeling alright after I put you under last time?
Last time, like what you did yesterday in the lab?
Right.
I guess so.
No head hurting or seen things?
No. Should I be?
You tell me.
Thanatos climbed down. He climbed down from my shoulder and wandered over to his room, and I followed behind. Why are we here?
I want to check something.
I watched as he wandered over to the input panel. Looking up to it, his attention went to the door next. The whole time he stayed quiet. What are you checking?
I've been left wondering how different dreams and memories are from one another once again.
Once again?
We've had this conversation before. Let me catch you up, or let me catch you back up. When I look through my memories, it's like seeing everything on a single line. A lot of big gaps from where I'm offline.
Okay. So are the gaps always the same, or?
No, always start the same. But things have been wildly different after I've made known I remember. I remember my master. I remember watching him die. I remember what he asked of me, and when he gave me my name. I remember how I was back then compared to how I am now.
He turned to face me, shaking his head.
But there are gaps. Noticeable gaps where there shouldn't be. But there are other times where the pattern breaks and I awaken somewhere else long after the vacation has ended.
I don't think I get it.
When the pattern breaks, how do I know I'm not looking at a memory but instead a dream?
Do you sleep? You're a robot, so I assume you'd need to recharge at some point.
It's not the same as sleeping, but it might as well be. And so, I'm forced once again to consider what these things are. Are they dreams or memories?
Well, if they're memories, they'd be traumatic, right? That's what you said this morning.
Oi, I'm serious.
So am I. Do the same rules apply to you or not?
Of course they don't. I'm the vault itself, not someone coded into it.
I gestured at him, confused. So how do you not know if something's a dream? You seem to just know everything, so why is this tripping you up? Besides, if we've already had this conversation before, why are you wasting my time with it now?
It's not a waste. I'm legitimately confused.
You're a robot.
Whose memories seem to show signs of tampering. Not this time, but in previous loops.
Well, don't look at me. I don't know how that could happen.
There's one thing that it could be.
The one thing that would only, but the only one that would know is my master. And that is, if he asked me to delete parts of my memory for him. And you just do that? Of course. From the looks of the things, he's only wanted small sections removed, but I don't know why. Then ask him. It's not that easy. Talking with him lately has been difficult. With you all around, finding the time to slip away and have a bit of a chat is hard. I'm guessing because you don't want us following. Pretty much. I sighed. My head was hurting, but not from anything he'd done to me. I was just stressed from things easier and confused about what he was getting at. That's what I told myself anyway. Which leads us back to this check I want to do. Which is... get comfortable. I don't... My eyes, not again! I couldn't get the words out of my mouth before a sudden sound assaults in my ears. High enough pitch that I felt myself black out. I felt myself lose consciousness long before I hit the floor, and internally, I wondered how hard I'd land on the floor. It was strange being conscious while being unconscious, or being able to actively think things while surrounded by an endless void. When I came to, I was in the woods. Everything was hurting, but I picked myself up and started walking. No one was around, just me and my heavy breathing. It was dark, cold, and I had the feeling something was very wrong. It took me longer than I should have to realize I was bleeding. Blood was seeping from a wound on my body. A blood-covered hand came up to sit in front of my face. A grim smile forming soon after. Something told me I knew everything that was about what just happened, why I was injured, but I couldn't open my mouth to ask. Stumbling into the makeshift campsite, I collapsed again, listening out into the dark. My blood ran cold when I heard the sing-song voice of someone I hoped I didn't have to face. Dave, where'd you go? Soon after was his manic cackling, echoing through the trees. I know you're out there. As much as my injuries would allow, I scrambled forward to move on from the river. Something was pushing me towards the house. Orlando! I coughed, blood spattering against the tree as I was leaning against when I turned my head. Far off into the distance, I could make out the lights. It had to be the mansion. Further off into the distance, I could hear Jack laughing. He seemed to be moving away from me rather than pursuing me, and I sighed. Though doing so sent a jolt of pain through my chest, I continued. My pace slowed, my vision blurred. I could see someone approaching me in the dark, but it was hard to make out who exactly it was. Maybe I'd given up, or maybe I'd known exactly already, but with how deep the smell of blood was in my nose, I couldn't tell. Dean. There you are. My eyes dipped down to the gun in his hand. Dean. Dean. I coughed again. He stepped closer. Then everything went black again. When I next opened my eyes, I was laying on my bed. My face hurt. I could smell blood on my face, but I seemed to have control over my body this time. As I stretched, I realized I was leaning against something warm and pillowy. When I groaned, a familiar voice gasped in surprise. You're awake! Dean, where am I? He looked at me over, seemingly ignoring my question. He checked my eyes, a frown forming on his face as he seemed to touch everywhere except my nose. Dean?
You're in my room. Our room. I brought you up here after Thanatos told me where you were.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I groaned as I sat up, and Dean held his hand on the middle of my back for support. How do I look, by the way?
Even with that amount of blood on your face, like one handsome hyena, my opinion was worth anything.
He continued to rub my back, nodding slowly.
But you'll feel better after a shower and something to eat.
What time is it?
Not as late as you think it is, but you did miss dinner.
Oh. So I must have been downstairs for a fair bit, huh?
You've been upstairs for a while, too. Thanatos said you'd be fine, though, so I didn't trust him watching over you while you were collapsed on the cold floor.
He leaned over and kissed me on the cheek, rolling off the bed to wander around to the other side and help me up, too. You'd kiss me? Even covered in blood?
It's your own blood. And there's not much, really. But it's enough you should get a shower in so you can at least... you know.
As he turned away, I grabbed him quickly by the arm, frowning. When I was unconscious, I had... a volt thing.
Someone's going to die again?
No, not that. Just, I saw you and you were there and you had a gun and...
Hey now, slow down. What happened?
I was injured. Stabbed, maybe? Bleeding pretty bad, but I was running away from Jack, I think. The last thing I saw and remember was you being there. You had a gun, but... Then I passed out after that.
This is sounding very involved.
I let his arm slip from my grasp and felt confused. Not worried or threatened, just confused. Dean placed his hands on my shoulders and looked me over again, unsure.
Did you want me to stay? I was going to go get you a sandwich, but I can stay if that's more important.
No, it's okay. I'll have a shower. Plus a sandwich probably will do me some good. Dean didn't budge, instead just sitting there watching me carefully. What?
Nothing else on your mind?
There's one other thing. Just what's going to happen in a couple of days? It doesn't sit right with me, but all we can do is wait?
What did you want to do?
Escape would be nice, but...
We can't. We don't know the way out. Or at least one that is an alternative to the main road.
Right.
Get clean. I'll get you something to eat and we can talk it out in the morning with the others. After you've gotten some rest.
I chuckled, sheepishly hanging my head. But I've just been asleep for hours.
And I know what my hyena looks like when he's exhausted. Don't worry about it. Just recover first and we'll go from there.
Dean was back before I'd gotten in the shower, and I greedily swallowed down the peanut butter sandwich he came back with. All he did was laugh and ushered me into the bathroom the moment I'd finished swallowing and waited for me by the door until I was done. I was clean and I could breathe through my nose normally. But with something in my stomach and the heat from the water taking the aches away, I found myself collapsing into a massive bear the moment I stepped out. In a daze, I was carried and put in bed. Then Dean came to lay down next to me as I started to drift off. The last thing I could feel before I drifted off was Dean cuddling me into his side, and a gentle kiss placed atop my head. To be continued. End of demo. Looks like we've hit the end. And so, with that concludes the Dean version of Day 21. Pretty much it's going to be the same for everybody, but I'm just going to take a little break to type this down and, yeah, timestamp it. I'm going to quickly go back to Tyson's and finish up for the night. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to, like, perfectly timestamp everything tonight after this, because I'm going to go to bed. After this, it's going to be late for me. I'll probably work on it tomorrow, most likely. And since I'm done streaming everything else, I'll have time to. Anyway, take a few minutes to get up, stretch, and we'll see what the differences are with Dean's. Or Tyson's, damn it. Tyson's this time. Anyway. Alright, so I am going to load up Tyson's, and we'll see where things go from there. So I'll give you all like another 2 minutes or something, maybe a minute. I'll start at 2:55 on the dot. Just taking a little time to just stretch. I'll probably let the dog out for a bit. Alright, so I'll do that actually. So yeah, I'll let you know when I'm back.
Alright, I took a little longer than usual. Sometimes the doggo just isn't sure what to do. Yeah, just letting her do her business. But yeah, anyway. Let's get back to things. I'll timestamp it and we'll do the Tyson parts. Okay, we are gonna start, and let's kick things off. We are back to day 21, but we're gonna skim through things unless it's unique to Tyson. Let's go. The thought made me smile, that he was proud to have me with him this way, and cuddling up close to him, I fall asleep to the thoughts of my boyfriend. I have not tried that passion tea yet. I need to try that. I think my mom has it at home. And yeah, I know it's getting late, so apologies to anybody if you have to go. You can always watch this later. I get it if you leave. Day 21. Oh no, the F2. Who pressed F2? Whatever. There had only been a few times where I'd felt like I'd been falling in my dreams. Starting at this line, we're going to just skim until we get a unique thing. I'm assuming we might have a little unique bit with Tyson's thing commenting about the wedding. Here we go. All right. The whole dream was the same. Okay, so the line we are stopping at before that gets... The line before the unique part is... For the most part, my throat felt dry and I needed water. Then coffee. Then for breakfast, just thinking about food made my stomach growl. Something that I wasn't expecting, but it was nice having an appetite again. I had my arms around Tyson, who was still asleep. But unlike how we fell asleep, I found myself to be the big spoon in how we were cuddling. Not that I minded, but I was a little worried about moving so quickly lest I wake him up.
It's alright. I'm awake.
I wasn't sure that I'd heard him at first, but when he yawned and shifted, I lifted my arms so he could move.
Couldn't sleep?
More like slept enough. I'm mostly just hungry now.
Sure.
What about you?
If I'm being honest, I'm still bushed. Plus, after last night, I don't know. I kinda just want to hang out here for a bit.
You're skipping breakfast?
No, just trying to lay low. That's all.
Did you want me to bring you anything? Coffee? Breakfast?
Nah, it's fine. I'm just gonna nap a little more and then I'll get up.
I leaned forward and kissed him on the side of his muzzle, and while he was still processing what I'd done, I'd sat up to stretch. If you're going to hang here, I'm gonna go get food and then look into something. Join me later?
You're not going to go find trouble, are you?
No.
Good.
And now the line, once I was dressed, I headed downstairs. From there, it is the same
as the other path A routes, or same as the other routes. And we fast forward to the same line before it is Roswell.
Well, after yesterday, I imagine people won't necessarily want to do anything, right?
I looked from Roswell to Tyson, who seemed to be sharing a look with one another. Was he giving him an out after what happened at dinner? Either way, Ty kept quiet and his head down soon after. Oh, that was just one line that was unique. It is back to the same once we have the line Orlando. Well, we can't just do nothing. And I'm assuming the kitchen and museum group thing is going to be the same. We're just going to do it in the same order because kitchen group away. Okay, now we have a unique line after Dean's line. Dean.
Hey, I can handle myself in the woods. If it makes you feel any better, I won't go out there unless I've got the axe. Or gun if we can find one. Even then, only as a last resort, alright?
I breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that whatever fallout Dean and I had seemed to be over. Or over enough that he seemed not to be showing any more signs of grief over it. And we are back to the or not, I don't want to say the same lines. It sounds like I'm being ignorant or whatever, but I guess it's technically the same lines as the other routes. But yeah, now we are back to the same lines. Continuing on with Roswell.
As far as it being an option, it's good to know that we have one should the food run low.
And we skip over to the museum now, and the line before it when we're in the museum is, before we get to the unique part, it's Dave saying about
Mostly yesterday.
what about yesterday?
My mistake at the dinner table.
Oh.
Given how the reactions at the table went, I figured this was the best way to split up the groups. Leaving Tyson around any of the others could have been problematic.
Oh, and hey, Fallen. Great to see you here.
At the very least, Orlando. I don't know how the others would go.
And how's things been in these talks?
Fine.
Just fine?
Make no mistake, it was a bit messed up the thing he did, but I'm not about to condemn my buddy over it. Though if he screws up that bad again, he's on his own.
Dude, harsh.
And deserved.
Sorry. I should have not left it for so long. Or perhaps I should have raised him more privately.
No sense in worrying about it now. Only thing we can do now is deal with it.
This might be one of the things where we deal with it by not dealing with it.
And now the lines are back to the same as the other routes. So the line we will resume with the same being, or the line we continue off with is, grimacing slightly, I looked at the sword we were all standing around, thinking it was about time we got back to getting this free. And we'll fast forward from there. For anybody who's just joining now, I played through all of this, but started out by doing Dean's route for this, so I'm skipping through all the parts that are common to all the routes, but when a unique part comes up for Tyson, we stop. We meet Dom again, the evil man. A lot is the same throughout this. I think I know where it's gonna stop next, but I'm just gonna wait. Oh. It's the same with Dean with the gun. This isn't different. Interesting. The path stays the same until we finish this line. When I next opened my eyes, I was laying on my bed. My face hurt. I could smell blood on my face, but I seemed to have control over my body this time. I flexed my fingers and reached out to a mass of small things woven through a piece of string. As I turned the makeshift friendship bracelet in my hand, I sighed again, this time in relief. Tyson's room. I was in Tyson's room. Or maybe it was closer to our room now. If anything, the most distressing thing wasn't being able to smell anything other than blood, rather than that familial scent that I associated him with, given I was surrounded by things he touched. How did I end up here? Was I even still in the same timeline? Were there other timelines? As I sat up with a groan, my eyes slowly went towards the door to the room. A faint creak of it hinted that someone was on the other side. A moment later it opened. Ty. Upon seeing me conscious, he ducked his head out of the room before snapping the door shut. Then he marched over to the bed and dropped himself down to look at me.
What did the rat do to you?
Huh? What?
Found you passed out downstairs after he told me where you were.
Oh, vault things.
Bullshit.
No, it's kinda true. I don't really know what happened. We were talking then, and then that was it. Tyson grumbled, but he seemed satisfied that I wasn't lying to him. I could tell from the wrinkle in his nose he was just worried, though. I'll be okay.
Have you seen your face?
What's wrong with my face? What happened to it?
You're covered in your own blood, Dave.
Wait, I am?
Yeah, probably laying on your nose or something, but outside of that, I can't see anything wrong with you.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Brought you something to eat. You've been out for a while.
How long? It didn't seem like I was out that long.
Not that you've had a way of knowing, but you missed dinner.
Oh.
Don't worry. I grabbed you something just in case.
He handed over a foiled wrap bundle, and I gingerly took it while trying not to breathe in through my nose. Where's Thanatos?
Fuck if I know. You hungry or you want a shower or what?
Ty, Can we talk about something?
What?
About what happened today. What do you think of all of that?
Look. There isn't anything else I could say that I didn't already. I want you safe. I want to take you home. If I could,
I'd drag you down the mountain myself, but with the road out.
Not to mention leaving everyone else behind.
If I'm being honest, I don't care. If you're safe and we get out, then I'm happy. Although, if we can get Haas out too, that'd be a bonus.
None of the others?
I know you want everyone safe. But if push comes to shove, I'm picking only who I care about. Anyone else is a bonus.
Right.
You don't have to say it. I know.
In 2 days, we're just going to go through a repeat of all this again, aren't we?
Is there anything I can do?
I don't think there's anything any of us can do. It's now just a waiting game. Hoping things turn out and we can get out, right?
Right.
I handed him back the food he brought me and I struggled out of bed. I'm gonna have a shower first. As I stepped away, Ty grabbed my wrist and held right.
Listen, I love you, yeah?
I love you too, Ty. When I'm done, can we just cuddle? I guess. I was exhausted, sore, and after I'd eaten more sleepy than I'd given myself credit for. Part of me was half expecting that he'd ask to do something more, and I sure as hell could feel it. Would explain why he spent a while in the bathroom after a while and returned just as sleepy as I was in just his boxers. It was not long after that I passed out again. This time, though, hopefully it'd be dreamless sleep. To be continued. End of demo. So at least in this, this version, at least in day 21, it seems like all the routes end on a unique ending, so there's that. To be continued. End of demo. And with that, we end our password journey for now. I put the mic down, if you can hear me, and I try to type. Alright. So yeah, that concludes our update with Tyson and Dean and day 21 in general. If I ever go back to Haas, Roswell, Sal, Orlando, whoever else, and do their routes, I probably would have to skip through the common parts like this. If it's 2 lines or whatever that are common, or a few lines or small, tiny parts, I'm okay with that. But I mean, when it's like this, where it's big chunks, I'd probably be refer to this episode, but I'll play the unique parts, just like I did with this. But yeah. So that was fun, though. Oh, why did I say fun? Come on, Dirk, that's terrible to say. But I meant to say I enjoyed getting to play this again, and it's really, really starting to hit a dark note now, and yeah, I'm somberly looking forward to seeing how things pan out. I'm really worried now. So, yeah. You got me on the edge of the seat now. So, yeah, that is everything for this update of Password.
And come next month, paths A and B will be updated for day 22. So we'll get another month of that. And then from there, we'll kind of just chill, kind of, maybe meander, wait until something comes out with that. Normally, password can either be like all at once, where it's like, bam, you got a month in a row, 2 months in a row, 3 for your route, or you're waiting like 4 or 5 months for it to come. I kind of like that in that it depends on, what the writer is comfortable with, instead of having to stick to a stigma of like, not stigma, but having to stick to, I have to write every character once every 3 months, and even if I'm feeling one more than the other, then you have to still write the other. Yeah. I think that's healthier for the writing, especially because it's like, their own project, so it's not like they're like a AAA game where it's like you have to do this a certain order or whatever, so that's cool. Keeps you on your toes too. Yeah, that is all I got for tonight. I'm probably gonna let the doggo in. Hopefully she went out and did her duty. Then I'm probably gonna, wrap things up for the night. I'll probably come back tomorrow morning to the same house. I'm leaving some of my gear here, my tech here, just so I don't have to like lug it back and forth multiple times. But yeah, I'll probably start work on editing tomorrow morning. Like, not like editing, but like, time stamping and time stamping things for Dean and Tyson's common routes. Maybe I'll even add a Dean and Tyson playlist. I need to get like a password playlist going, because this is the only other novel I've played that has a bunch of routes and it's the only one of the 3 that I don't have unique playlists for. Like, I just have password. I need to do a Dina Tyson playlist. Smoke Room has it. 10 Ace has it. It's in my channel description bars or whatever. You can go onto the main channel page and you'll see it in each row. But yeah. I do like the idea of the paths, though. Having paths and routes makes it kind of fun. Then you have the intersections. But yeah, I should get going. I'm getting tired. Things are closing. I'm going to have a late dinner and probably eat ice cream. I don't know. And I'll probably be like Dave and have to have my caffeine in the morning. Relatable, right? Oh man, I'm being cheesy. Anyway, I'm gonna get going, y'all. So thank you everyone so much for watching, and until next time, take care, folks.